Danny, thanks for your time. How are you finding the season so far?
It's been good. It's been overall good, but it's been challenging. Obviously with don't want to kind of keep going on about it, but the changes that we had at the start of pre-season, we've had to bring a lot of new bodies in. It's been getting used to them, getting used to the new management and players getting used to how other players play. But it's been overall good. We've had some really good results. Had a couple of frustrating ones, but in a good position.
Like I said, we're currently in 10th place. Would you say that's a fair reflection of the start of the season, or would you say it's somewhat of a false position?
I think early on it's quite difficult to read into the table. A couple of good wins now and we're right up there. A couple of bad results and we're right down there. I think in this league, everyone kind of beats everyone. And it's tough and every result matters. We've had a few that have kind of gone our way and a few that obviously haven't. Like the Spennymoor game, I think it was difficult because, obviously losing a man in the first half, we kind of were thankful to come away with a draw. And we've had some other games like on Saturday, obviously, when we managed to come away with a draw, which turned out to be a really good point. And some other ones that we've drawn, which I think we could have won. So it's been a bit up and down, but I think that, it's a long season and there's a lot of twists and turns still to happen.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see how committed the lads are to the cause as well, both in training and on match days. It must really help when you've got, such a tight-knit group around who all really want to achieve the same thing.
Yeah, I think, everyone obviously is kind of pulling in the right direction and we're all kind of supporting the manager. We're all on the same page, and we've had some difficult results like Oxford at home. It was the first time we'd lost, I think, in the league since Boxing Day. So the first time this year. I think that hurt us a lot, especially the way in which it happened, and obviously going up in the second half and then them scoring those goals at the end, which the free kicks I think are unbelievable, but the manner in which we gave them away and the way we kind of came away from the game. So I think we wanted to put that right in the Kidderminster game in terms of not giving up, and obviously we were thankful to score at the end of it.
Yeah, you got that goal at the end, like you said, and it's also meant that you're our top scorer for the season so far with 4 goals in 8 appearances. You must be pleased with that return and with your overall performances recently as well.
Yeah, I think it's always nice to get off to a good start. I had a bit of a frustrating start last season, and had a long time without a goal, so it's nice to kind of get back to scoring again. Thankful to the manager for giving me a fair amount of minutes, and thankfully I've repaid him with some goals in the last few games. But yeah, I think that in my position, the type of player I am, I'd expect to be the top goal scorer in the team. And I'm just glad that I've had the opportunity to obviously put those chances away. But I think I could have scored more. And I'm hopeful that I'll continue to score and score more in the future.
Brilliant. And hopefully carry that on Saturday in the FA Cup, where we take on Atherton LR Rovers at home. You must just be hopeful of a good result and ultimately be able to put a bit of a cup run together.
Yeah, we've been speaking today about, they're going to be a challenge. Obviously we're higher than them in the pyramid, but these type of games are always difficult because for them it's a big game to obviously come out and impress, and for us it's the cliche of kind of you don't want it to become a banana skin, you don't want to be complacent, you want to make sure that we put in a good performance at home. Obviously after the Oxford game, you want to kind of turn those tides and just put a good result together. I think it'll be a good opportunity for some players to get some minutes that haven't necessarily had them, but I think that we'll be looking to just put in another good performance and get a good result.
Obviously, Atherton are the opposition, and whilst they do sit in the North West Counties division, I'm sure you'll also be aware of the threat that they pose and also conscious of just not getting ahead of yourselves either.
Definitely, yeah. I think that it's important to start well, show what we're about, and just put on a really good performance. Like you say, go on a good run, but I think it's important to take it game by game, and just focus on that. Like I say, for them, it's going to be a really important game, as it is for us. It's just as important for us, and it's important that we just focus on our performance and show what we can do, really.
Brilliant. And if you do get the better of Atherton, ideally you'd like to progress in the tournament, as we've said, and get as far as you can, assuming that you do get that right result on Saturday.
Yeah, definitely. It'd be great to have a good FA Cup run. I've not really had too much of a magical FA Cup journey in my career so far, so it'd be nice to go on a good run. Obviously last year we went out of the FA Cup and the FA Trophy not too late on in the competitions, but to teams that were higher up in the pyramid than us at the time. So it'd be nice to go on a bit of a run and hopefully beat some higher sides as well.
Brilliant. And whilst it might not be a bumper crowd on Saturday, we'll still need our loyal home support to turn out in their numbers to get us over the line, won't we?
Yeah, definitely. It's we always get a good crowd here, and no doubt that we'll get good numbers on Saturday. Obviously it's a different game, it's a little bit of a break from the league, but hopefully the fans have enjoyed the football here over the last year or so, And you know, we've had a lot of good times, so hopefully this can be the start of a good FA Cup journey for them too.
Brilliant.